Hola. Again. Back. Back again. With some more opinions that nobody asked for, but I'm gonna say anyway, because they need to be said. So, Juneteenth, we just had it. It passed. We've all seen the various arguments, the people happy, the people not happy, all of that. I'm not really trying to get into all of that, but I just have to mention it because it's the reason how all these thoughts came about. And so today I'm really going to walk you through step by step in my thought process, and I'm hoping that, I don't know, it'll just get people thinking and conversating. So let's get into it. So the argument, people are happy that it's passed because it's been a decades-long fight to try to get Juneteenth to be a federal holiday. And so, of course, people are celebrating that, but then people are also upset because in real time we see things being stripped from Black people, like not the ability to vote, but it's being made hard for Black people and people of data status to vote across the United States. It's being made hard to teach children about racism. We're taking some backward steps. So while we're taking this step forward of recognition, we're taking backward steps in actual tangible federal law that makes a difference. Yeah, so those are the two sides of that. And for me, clearly I fall on the side of it's not enough. For me, it's a timing issue. After decades of people literally fighting for this and so much opposition, it just gets passed and implemented like that. That's strange. I need those things to start being strange to us, because it is. It should show you that obviously it wasn't that big of a deal in the first place, but that they fight hard to give us as little as possible. And only when they have no further options, only when they have to give us something, they give us the littlest bit they can. I look at things like the anti-Asian hate bill, and while it was necessary, it happened within months. Passed, no problem, no issues. But an anti-lynching bill is a struggle. The problem with the federal holiday is that we still haven't reached a point of being able to tell the truth. We haven't reached a point of being able to teach the truth or even admitting the truth to ourselves. Because when I look at things, to me, slavery is ongoing. And I'd like to kind of walk you through that, because I feel like people say that all the time, and then we look at these people like they're just so outrageous and they're just being, oh, it's like a figure of speech. It's obviously not the same as what was going on before. But while some people may be using it as a figure of speech, I'm like, technically, slavery is ongoing. And so I'd like to walk us through that a little bit, just so we can get there. Right, so we're like, Juneteenth is like 183 years ago that this happened. They said that the final people who didn't know that they were free found out. It's a lie. And you can look this up for yourself. There have been enslaved people who have been working and not knowing that they were free into the 1960s in the United States of America. Look it up. There's video, there are interviews, there are people who have found and brought this information to the light, and yet we're still allowing this narrative as if slavery was so long ago. Not only that, but we're also continuing to allow the narrative that sharecropping and slavery were somehow completely different. How? I need someone to explain how. Like, I need us to start demanding the words that we use and the technicalities and all of this stuff to getting in the way of what actually happened here. There was little to no difference in sharecropping and slavery. It was the way around slavery to let it continue. So let's look into when sharecropping was widespreadly gone. And maybe we could use that date. But again, until every person is free, I don't think we could use any date. let's go ahead and skip past the 1960s. We also have completely seemed to have forgotten about the 13th Amendment. Incarcerated people can still work for little to no money. That's slavery. And so when you think about that and Black people's relationship with our justice system and all, like, technically, right into this day, slavery is ongoing. So it's like, until we start to address the truth, until we start to actually like say what is and not just what we feel and what we wish it to be, what we've been told it is, and like literally look at what's been put in front of us, we're not making progress. Like, I need to get to the point where we're actually being truthful about what has happened here. And somehow, anyway, on Juneteenth, I had to go to Chesterfield Town Center, and somehow I wound up on River Road. And like, I mean, I've driven down River Road, but I've never like driven down to like really look at the houses, you know, and see. And so I'm like just taking my time and looking, and it's like, they're castles. Like, they're really beautiful, big castle houses. And so that just got me thinking, like, why we don't have no neighborhoods where all the castles and all the Black people live. Like, why we don't have no Black castle neighborhoods? I mean, there is probably a couple, you know, of nice neighborhoods that are predominantly Black, but it's like, why don't we have any spaces that are just for us? It's like, I always find these spaces that I didn't know were there, and they're predominantly white. It's like secret white spaces. That's what I call them every time. Like, it's like they have their secret white neighborhoods and their secret white schools, and they're not really a secret, but it's just for them. And so it's like, why we don't have anything that's just for us? And then, you know, I have that self-talk, the self-talk that comes in. It's like, well, Janelle, if we just had stuff for us, then, you know, it would be like all the other minorities would need their own spaces too. And that got me thinking some more. And it is probably not going to be a popular opinion, but I feel like it's very much time for us to differentiate Black American issues versus issues of other minority populations. And the reason is for what I just explained. Like, we have been, and continue to be the currency on which this country was built on from the very beginning. And so, absolutely, when we're speaking about Black issues and we're speaking about things, I just feel like we have every right to demand that be a separate thing when it comes to the United States of America. While yes, it's a country of immigrants and people have come here from home countries willingly. Now, there may have been things going on that have forced them out of their home country, but they had a choice to move here. Not only that, systemically, there are things that were built in for immigrants to move here. And systemically, there are things that are built in for us not to succeed. So it's literally the basic of facts. Like, I have all the right to feel like our issues should not be clumped in with everyone else's, that our argument shouldn't be diluted. And that's what I'm really starting to feel for almost like an overwhelming number of instances. It's just like every time it's like the attention should be on us and the things that we need and what we're supposed to be getting accomplished. It's all of these other things that come out of the woodwork that have to also be accomplished that are either more important or the same, or it's like, oh, it's so many issues. This is just one of many. And it's like, no. No, I I'm working on correcting this thought process myself because I feel like I have to be confident in it before I speak a lot on it. But again, just based on the fact that we built and continue to build and continue to be the driving force in which this country runs, we deserve our own spaces. We deserve our reparations. We deserve for this to be the forefront as it continues to be a national issue of violence against our bodies. Like, you talk about police violence and the police killings of unarmed people, and somehow it was unarmed black people, and then it became unarmed people, and now we're into how many instances of people being hurt or killed with mental illness, and now it's a mental illness discussion. And it's like again, while this is important, yes, we need to address all of this, yes, the issue that we were talking about are the police killings of black people, the police violence specifically targeted towards black people. Like, I don't understand why it's wrong to ask for us to focus. And then we have, like, we're talking about the disenfranchisement of black people. We have, even black people make this argument of the success of immigrants versus the success of black people. And yet again, like, we just like to forget that systemically, like, rules and regulations and laws were put in place and still exist in a lot of forms. Maybe aren't, implemented or followed as, but they're still on the books in a lot of places that prevent us from succeeding. And so you compare someone who came here from somewhere else and was able to go to the bank and get a loan because they're not black. So they were able to get approved and able to build themselves a success story. Now you compare that to all the black people who were denied for no reason. It's just, we have to stop allowing these excuses that have been generated out of thin air by white people and using them against each other. We have to all get on the same page as to what exactly has happened and what exactly is going on so that we can make them admit it, because we're not even on the same page. So I would really love, you can check me, you can Google it all. I want everybody Google everything and figure out what we need to do, because I don't understand how any of us can be comfortable sending our children to schools that don't teach the truth, that won't teach the truth. I'm not trying to send my child to school and have to come home and correct everything because they told them a half-ass story. What do we do about it?